Okay, let's start the class. So are you able to see my screen, right? You all.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. Today we will discuss about functions. Function. Okay. What is a function in Python? So when we use Python, then what is a function? So a function, a function is a block of reusable code that performs a specified. Okay. Yeah. So we have some built-in functions in Python like print, length, finding length, and then some built-in functions we have. Those we can use lit function, column function. Okay, so apart from those inbuilt function, if you want to generate write some code, okay, so and it is reusable every time. Like we will have in real time which functions we will use mostly. In, okay, we have JSON file. Okay, let me think of a real time scenario. Mm. Yeah, so we have some paragraph. So some paragraph, some text of 7 to 8 lines we have. But in the inside that text, we have some unwanted or not needed what special characters. So special characters like underscore, semicolon, slash, backslash, some which are not needed. So we want a clean English text, but it has some unwanted or special characters. So to remove those from our paragraph, so we will write some function. So whenever you encounter this symbol, replace with a blank empty string. So we will create one function. So that function can name can be what cleaning of unwanted this one cleaning of special characters that is needed in our project, right? So we can use that function, we can use anywhere in our project. So for that we won't write we will write some logic, and for that logic we will give some function name, and we will use wherever we want that logic, we will use that function. So that, yeah, so a function is a block of reusable code that performs a specific task. And function we can say in general, if you want to find a factorial of a number, so you don't write, so factorial of number is general thing, right? You don't write same code, same lines of code for every time. So what you will do, so you will write that code and you will define so some function for that code. So you can use anywhere. So in the future, if you want to find factorial of that, so no need to write again, right? You can use the same code like that. So wait, yeah. So whenever we have this need, we whenever we feel like we will use this, this code is this block of code is reusable, and we will use many times. Then we will define, we will create function for that logic. So that is function. Okay. Why we need, okay, why we need that function? Okay. For code, yeah. So whatever we discussed, same. For code reusability, and then code organization, and easier debugging and testing. So for these purpose, we will use these functions. Okay. So generally we will use that, we will use a function, so which is needed many times in our project. So we will write some logic for that, under that function, and we will use that function whenever we need it. Okay. We will see how to create functions and all, we will see. So we have to, first we have to define a function, right? So for defining a function, the syntax is this def, define. So and then function name. So if you have some function like greeting, you want to greet someone. Okay. So function. Okay. Let me write here syntax. Syntax is define, and then function name, and parenthesis. Inside this parenthesis, you can keep blank, or you can have parameters or arguments. If needed, you will have parameters. If you don't need, you can keep blank also. So and then it is ended. So and then after that, define function name. After that, this colon. Okay, and we have to follow indentation, right? And some block of code we will have. Okay, block of reusable code. Block of reusable code we will have. So if it is factorial, the function name will be factorial, and you will write the logic how to find the factorial of a number. You will write that code in 2 or 3 lines. Okay, here also same. So define. So the function name is greet. So greet. I don't have any parameters. Okay, another print hello students. Okay, so I want to greet all of you. So how can we write a function? Okay, this. Okay, so this is defining a function, right? But how can it get printed? So how can it get printed? Whenever we call this function, then only will get printed. Okay, how can we calling? So this is, let me use, yeah, defining a function. You can define function like this. And how can we call? Calling a function, you can call like, just give the function name. Okay, if you have any parameters, you can pass. Otherwise, just keep it as blank. See here. So here I defined the function. So it won't, Python won't read this function. Just it will memorize the function name. That's it. So whenever you call it, then only it will enter into this, inside of this block, and it starts executing and printing. Okay. So now I type this now. So I call this function. So it will enter into this one. So it will perform whatever we write here. So print, uh, if I write, my name is Gopi. If I call one more time, okay. If I call one more time, yeah. So hello students, my name is Gopi. It will print. Okay. So defining a function we have seen, calling a function we have seen, and how can we? Mm, yeah. How can we use parameters? Okay. So how can we use parameters? Define, same I can use. Define, greet. Okay. Greet name. So I am using one parameter, that parameter name parameter is name parameter. Print um, name. So this way, I want to print whatever parameter I pass, that I want to print. So you can write Gopi, greet Gopi. So we defined the function, and we are calling this function. See, So we have given na. So this parameter we passed here. Gopi, the string Gopi we passed to this greet function. So the name will be now name equal to Gopi, right? So this is the parameter. So this parameter we are passing to function. So now name equal to Gopi. So it will print name. So name is Gopi na. So it will print Gopi. So this way we can give parameters. We can have written values also. How can okay function here we don't have anything. So here it is not returning anything. Just it is executing whatever inside this. It is not nothing. It is returning nothing. So we can have return value also. So function with return statement. How it will work? We will see. Yeah, if you want to add two numbers, so you will write code na. So define the function name is addition. So add the parameters are both a and b. Okay, then return. So you want to add, you want to perform addition, right? So addition is a plus b, right? Normally addition is a plus b. Okay, so if I want to print what I want to print, okay, add add two parameters I have to pass, right? 5 comma 10. So now see, I defined one function here, define add addition, add a comma b. So these are the parameters, and I just given only a plus b. That's it. So I'm not returning anything. Now I want to print add is a function name, right? So add 5 comma 10. What it will do? Let's see. It printed nothing because yeah, because it is not returning anything, right? So it is just performing the action but not returning anything. That's why we have to use return statement. Now see, so it printed nothing. Now I added a return statement here. 15. It returned 15. So add 5 comma 10. So whenever you call this function, so it will enter into this function. Okay, add 5 comma 10. Now, so it will go to add 5 comma 10. So return 5 plus 10, 15. So whenever we print now, so that result will be printed. Okay. If I remove this return, it is printing nothing because it is returning nothing, right? That's why. Okay. This way we can use return statement. If you want to print without return, how can we print addition? You can use print statement here. Okay, print statement here, print a plus b, and just call that function. Then also we can perform, it will perform addition. So just we have defined one function, addition function, and you are passing the parameters a comma b, a equal to 5, b equal to 10. Now, so it will enter into this loop whenever you call this is calling, right? This is calling a function, you call the function addition and parameters 5 comma 10. So 5 add 5 comma 10 is triggered now. So print a plus b, it is printed. Okay. So if you don't give print here, okay, if you don't provide print here, it will, okay, add for nothing. So add, you call this function, it entered it here, and a plus b, it performed a plus b, but it did, but we are not nowhere using that a plus b, right? That's why you have to use return, or otherwise you can print here itself. Okay. Yeah, so we have many types of function, right? One, I mean, anonymous functions. We have built-in functions. We have user-defined functions. These are user-defined functions. This greet and the add. These two are user-defined functions because we are writing the these. We are writing code for these, right? That's why these are UDFs. UDFs are nothing but user-defined functions. We have some built-in functions also. So built-in functions we can directly use. No need to or define them. So built-in functions. Some examples of these built-in functions are length. So if you perform length operation, length function on a string or list, or it will give you the string will give you the how many characters it has. List will give you how many items inside that list has. So if you want to find, then you can use length. The length is a len. So length function is a built-in function. And if you want to know the data type of any variable, so then you can use type also built-in function. And print also one user defined function. No, built-in function. These are some built-in functions. These are user defined functions. And we have one anonymous functions like lambda function that we I will discuss after 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. Mm, so how can we use this one user defined function? So this is print is one function. It will print. Okay. Inside print, I am using one more function, length of some string I can provide, right? Gopi. So print length of Gopi. We are not defined anywhere, right? Print length. These both are Python functions, but we are not defining them because they are inbuilt built-in functions. So it will provide, it will print, it will returns me. So the length of this string. If you have some list, okay, you can pass list also. List 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It will print how many items it has. It has printed this list has 6 items. Okay. This way you can use built-in functions and user-defined function. You have to create your own logic. So you will encounter some situation. For that, you have to generate some logic. You will define that function and function name you will define, and you will write some block of code. Okay. Mm, okay. So what are recursive functions? Okay. We have recursive functions. So what is recursive function means? A function that calls itself. So we will have function like here we have define add we have na. So it will call. So inside this function, it will call add function again. That is recursive function. So it calls that function calls itself inside it. So that is called as recursive function. We will see. So if you encounter this is a classic example, everyone will explain this one only. If you want to find factorial or Fibonacci series, then we will use these recursive functions. If you the scenario is, so we have to find factorial of a number. How can we find? How can we find print factorial of number? So factorial of a number is n. N is n multiplied by n minus one multiplied by n minus 2 multiplied, and it comes up to 1, right? So it multiplies the number. Whenever the number equals to 1, there it stops. I mean, so if you want to find factorial, if you want to find factorial of 5, okay, so what will be the value? 5. So n is 5, right? 5 multiplied by 5 minus 1, 4. 4 multiplied by 4, 5 minus 2 means 3. N minus 3, 2 multiplied by n minus 4, 1. So whenever one it encounters 1, it stops. So this is okay. How can we find? So using recursive function. So you will define function. The function name will be factorial, and the parameter. So parameter you want to find you want to generalize it, right? So that's why we will pass arguments. So if you provide, if you will call some, you will write code here, and somewhere you will call factorial of this number 6 or 7, then it performs. So how can we write the logic? Define factorial of n. So we know. So factorial of n is nothing but n multiplied by n minus 1 multiplied by n minus 2, right? So so the factorial of we know. So because n minus 1, n minus 2, n minus 3, so it may become 0, right? N minus n. So n minus n, it may become 0. So for 0, we can't multiply. We can't multiply a number with 0. It will become 0. That's why if we have condition, factorial of 0 is 1, and factorial of 1 also 1. Whenever, okay, if n equals to 0, okay, if n equals to 0, return 1. Because we already know factorial of 0 is 1. Okay. And otherwise, return this logic, right? Let me remove this one. for time being, let me remove this one. So define factorial of n. So what is the factorial of n? So factorial of n is nothing but n multiplied by n minus 1 multiplied by n minus 2, right? So return n multiplied by, so multiplied by, we can use same factorial, right? Factorial n minus 1. Okay. So what it will do? Okay, what it will do if n equal to 5, what it will do? 5 so I have given 6, right? Okay, 6 factorial of 6, it will come here. I called the function here, so it will come to this block factorial of 6. Okay, so 6 multiplied by factorial of 6 minus 1. Okay, factorial of 6 minus 1 means 5. So I am calling this function again now. Okay, I will write here 6 multiplied by factorial of 6 minus 1 is nothing but 5. So what is factor? Now it will factorial of this function we are calling now. So it will go here. Factorial of 5 now. 6 multiplied by factorial of 5. So factorial of 5. So factorial of 5 is what? Okay, let me write the execution here. First iteration, what will be the value? 6 multiplied by factorial of 5. Okay, next. So so it will go to factorial of, if I go to this, right? So second iteration. Okay, what? 5. Okay, now so n is 5, right? 6 multi n is first, for first iteration n equal to 6. 6 multiplied by factorial of 5. So for second iteration, so now this function is called recursively. So factorial of 5 means factorial of 5 value is how much? 5 multiplied by factorial of 4, n minus 1, 5 minus 1, 4. This is equals to factorial of 5. This equals to factorial of 6, right? So whenever factorial of 6 you call, so the value will be 6 multiplied by factorial of 6, 6 minus 1, factorial of 5. So what is factorial of 5? So what is factorial of 5? 5 multiplied by factorial of 5 minus 1, 4. Now third iteration. So now factorial of 5, right? So factorial of 5, 4. Factorial of 4, 4 multiplied by 4 minus 1. Okay. 4 multiplied by factorial of 4 minus 1, 3. So what this value equal to? Factorial of 4. And fourth time, so you are passing factorial of 4 here. So factorial of 4. Okay, no. Factorial of 4, 4 multiplied by factorial of 3. Okay, factorial of 3 here. Factorial of 3 means 3 multiplied by factorial of 3 minus 1, 2. So this value equal to factorial of 3. And now factorial of 3, right? Factorial of 3, 3 multiplied by factorial of 2. So factorial of 2. Okay, fifth time factorial of 2. 2 multiplied by factorial of 1. So this value equal to factorial of 2. So factorial of 1, right? Okay, factorial of 1 here. Okay, now, so sixth time what happens? So 1, okay, 1 multiply, factorial of 1, right? So factorial of 1 is what? 1 multiplied by 1 multiplied by factorial of 1 minus 1, 0. So what happens? What is the value? Factorial of, this is factorial of 1. Okay. So factorial of 0, we don't know. So because if I pass here 0, so 0 multiplied by anything will be 0, right? That's why we have to give. So we already know we have to give this condition. Otherwise, the value will be 0. Because if I give here factorial of 0, if it goes again, if it recursively goes to this block, what happens? Factorial of 0 has to go, right? Factorial of 0 means 0 multiplied by factorial of 0 minus 1, minus 1. 0 multiplied by factorial of -1. What it will be? 0, right? So factorial of 1 will be 0. So 2 factorial of 1 will be, so if it is 0, then 0, right? That's why we have to give the condition. Okay. What condition? We already know. If if you encounters n equals to 0, if you encounters n equal to 0, return 1. So what happens now? So 1, now it encountered factorial of 0, right? The value will be 1. Okay, 1 multiplied by 1. So factorial of 1 is 1, right? So now factorial of 1 is 2 multiplied by 1. So factorial of 2 is 2 multiplied by 1, 2. Yeah. So factorial of 3 is 3 multiplied by 2, 6. Factorial of 4 is 4 multiplied by 6, 24. Factorial of 5 is 24 multiplied by 5. 24 multiplied by 5, how much? 120? Yeah, 120. 120 multiplied by 6, 720. Okay. Yeah. So understood. If you have any doubts, we can discuss. Now I want factorial of 6. Okay. I will assign. So if I run, it won't give me anything because if I run it syntax error. Yeah. Not semicolon we have to use. It won't give me anything because, okay, spelling mistake. Factorial. Okay, factorial of 6. It won't return anything. Yeah, it returned anything, but it is output. If you want to print it, it will print correctly. Like I mean, in correct format, it will print. Yeah, 720. Okay. So we are using returns, right? That's why it returned this n factorial n minus 1 value. So it is recursively called. So whenever n equals to 0, it will return n. So it will perform this operation. So n multiplied n and n minus multiplied by n minus 1. So whenever it encounters 0, it returns 1. Okay. So this is recursive function calling a function, so that it calls itself. That is a recursive function. So any doubts, guys, in this one? Okay. Yeah. So we discussed global variables and local variables, right? So that time I used function also. Let me again explain this. So this we can call scope of variables. So local variables. You know what is local variable and global variable. Local variable means if a variable that is defined. Okay, a local variable means defined inside a function, so that is local to that function only. Global global variable means defined outside of a function. So it defined outside of a function, and it will be, we can use this global variable anywhere in our notebook. Okay, let me x equal to 10. So x equal to 10, it is defined outside of the function, right? So that's why it is global variable. So let me define some function like display. So function name, and it is ended with colon. We have to follow the indentation. Okay, so now I am defining same x variable. Okay, x equal to 5, but this one is local. X equal to 10 defined outside of the function. That's why it is global. So x equal to 5. So it is defined inside the function, that is local. It is we can access this x equal to 5. It is x equal to 5 only inside this function. Outside of this function, x will be 10. Okay, let me print. Okay, so function, inside function. Okay, let me print this value. And let me call this function now, display function. I'm not passing anything. just I am calling this function, it will go, it goes here, and now x equal to 5, it will print x. So now it prints x equal to 5, it will print. Okay, inside function. Now I will call, I want to print x value here outside. So outside function, x value I am printing. So here I am printing x value, and outside also printing x. So you can see, so inside this value is x, outside this value is, inside this value is 5, outside this value is 10. Because so this is x equal to 5 is local, and it is defined only to this display function. This x equal to 10, so it will be, it is global. You can, this value will be 10 in entire notebook. Okay. Mm, Yeah, so I want to discuss about anonymous function, right? This lambda function. So whenever we discuss RDD, resilient distributed data frames, that time we will discuss, we will use this lambda function. Okay, lambda function. Whenever you have simple functions, I mean, the function can be completed in one line. That time we will use this lambda function. Okay, this is also called as anonymous. Okay, anonymous function. So this function, so for earlier, so for all user defined function, we are using, we are defining, right? We are defining, and we are giving some name. So we are defining that function, and we are giving some function name. But it won't have, okay, it won't have, lambda function will not have any function name. So a function without a name, and also it is used for simple means only one line, simple operations. Then we will use this lambda function. So lambda function is anonymous function. It is neither built-in function nor user defined function. This is anonymous function. So it doesn't have any value. I mean, we don't define it. So it doesn't have any function name. So it is used for simple operation, which will be completed within one within one sentence. Okay. 1 minute, guys. Water. Okay, the syntax will be lambda, lambda, lambda. Okay, here lambda. Okay, lambda, and arguments. We will have arguments here. Arguments, and it is separated by this colon only, and the expression I will show you. So maybe it may be confusing as of now. So the syntax is lambda, this keyword, lambda keyword, and we will provide arguments are nothing but parameters. We have seen in recursive function, this n is argument. When we are defining addition, so a comma b are arguments. Okay, here we will provide those arguments here, and we will write the expression. Okay, we will write the expression here. Hmm, like one example is addition. For addition, so we don't require to use, we don't require to define the function, and we can use this lambda function itself, because it is simple one, right? Simple operation, right? So we will see. So add equal to same. Earlier we have used addition, right? There also I defined add only. So here we will see add equals to lambda, and the arguments, both the two arguments we have to pass, right? Both arguments, and separated by column, and then operation a plus b. Say now I will okay, a plus b. Now I will print this one, print add. Okay, some 3 comma 5. So now I'm, so this is not a function. If you see this lambda a comma b, this lambda and the arguments and then expressions, so the value of this one is stored in some variable. So now this add is variable, not a function. If you see here define add, we have created one function, right? Here it is a function name. Add is a function name. We defined a function and that is a function name. But here add is not a function. It is a variable. You can give a only. So variable name a, and to that a you are passing arguments 3 comma 5. Let's see, 8. So understood. If you have very simple operations and it will be completed within one expression, then we can go for lambda functions. Okay. If you want to find, yeah, if you want to find square of a number, that is also square of a number is nothing but x multiplied by x, right? If you have n as an input, n multiplied by n is square, right? N square, n multiplied by n. So that time we can use this one because it will be completed in only one expression, right? So square, I will give one a variable name square, and I will use lambda keyword. And for this one, we need only one parameter, right? Because square of a number means we need only one number, n. Okay, and the expression will be n. And if you use double star, it will be exponential, right? So n square. I mean, square means n square. So if you use double, one star, it will be n multiplied by 2. If you provide two stars, it will be exponential. So n power 2. Okay. Now I will print this one. Print the variable name. So to the variable name, we can pass that argument 4. So 4 multiplied by 4, 16. So this lambda or anonymous function, when we can use, we can use whenever that function can be completed in within one expression. So that time we can use this anonymous functions. No need to define, no need to create function. Okay, so we can use directly this lambda functions. This one we will discuss. These lambda function will be useful whenever we are dealing with RDDs. Okay, yeah, this is sufficient, guys, for Python. So I mean, we will discuss everything, transformations and all. We will discuss whenever we are deal with PySpark. But this basics of Python is sufficient. But transformations and all we will discuss in next. I mean, in next week. Okay. Mm, so I covered basics of Python. Okay. Anil. I covered basics of Python. So I want to cover basics of SQL also. Maybe some of you already know, but I want to cover now itself. Okay, so that for people those who already know, already have strong knowledge of SQL, it will be like revision. You will it will be like revision. For people those who don't know Python, for them they will learn it. Okay. Any doubts? Someone is saying something.
Gopi, there is one question actually. When it is terminating, right? When I'm logging to community edition and it just shows terminated. So is what is the way actually? I'm just logging out and again logging again. Is there any other way that I can again connect?
Okay, this one I didn't understood. Okay, so
Yeah, it is
whenever
connected. Now it is connected, right? If
it
I
will
will
be
not use
terminated,
for some time. Yeah.
it will be terminated if you don't use this cluster for continuously 2 hours. If you are not going to use, then it will be terminated daily. Whenever you are going to work on this Databricks Community Edition, so come here and start this cluster, spin up this cluster. The cluster will be activated. For it will take 2 to 3 minutes. If you are
I didn't get it. How to restart?
compute, go to compute. Okay, okay.
Okay.
Let me delete this one. Okay, let me delete this cluster. Now I don't have any cluster, right?
Hmm.
So you can come to create, and you can create compute. Click on this create compute, and you don't have because it is a free edition. So I think a 12.2 is a 12.2 is maximum version we can keep. We have up to 16.3, but it won't support in free trial. It won't support. You can give 12.2 only LTS, and no need to check any other. Just create compute.
Okay.
Come to compute and create it. That's it. It will be
Okay.
created. It will take 2 to 3 minutes. That's it. So daily, whenever you are going to work, na, that time you come here and create it. It will create for you.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Fine. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So after, if you are using it continuously, no, you will not have any problem. But if you stop using it for continuously 2 hours, na, then it will terminate it. Again, you have to spin up the cluster.
Yes. Yes. Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Today we will discuss today and maybe Friday also we will discuss about SQL only. Okay, whenever we have CSV files, Parquet files, and other files, we will use maximum Python, PySpark coding only. But when we are dealing with Azure SQL databases, otherwise whenever we are creating internal or managed delta tables and external delta tables, so we SQL is very easy whenever we are operating on tables. Now that time SQL writing querying using SQL is very easy compared to Python. That's why I will discuss SQL basics also. Uh, for other batch also I am discussing. In interviews, they will ask some questions of SQL also. Okay, so they will ask you where exactly you will use SQL and what is DDL. Can you explain something about DDL, DML, DCL? So these type of questions they used to ask. I have seen some interview questions. That's why we will discuss for 5 to 10 minutes, and then we will create one table and we will query some. We will use some query classes and we'll query some results. Okay. Okay. SQL. SQL means structured query language. So for the purpose of using this one is let me, yeah. So it is also like Python. It is also one computer programming language. Okay, and it is just Python is very easy compared to Python. SQL is very easy because SQL just like it is writing like the English text only. Python also same, but SQL is more easy. Okay, you will learn. If you don't know, no problem. You will learn in of 2 to 3 weeks. If you concentrate, you will learn in 2 to 3 weeks. So there are very complex queries also we have, but for data engineers we don't require that much complex queries. So you require how to create table, how to delete, and how to update some content, and how can you query on the table, and okay, so how can you use group by, order by, in class, between class, where class, and having class. This much of knowledge is sufficient, and you need to know how can we index a column. Okay, so how can we provide some constraints, because some fields will not allow or null values, right? So null constraint we have to use. So I will explain DDL, DML, and some constraints, because while creating table we have to follow some rules, right? That constraints also I will explain, and then we can create one table and we can play around that table. Okay. Yeah, why we use so SQL. So it is standard language. Whenever you are using relational databases, now that time SQL is a standard language. So some RDBMSs like MySQL, MS Access, Oracle, okay, PostgreSQL, all these will use this SQL only. Okay, for all of these, this SQL also one of the standard language. Okay, why we use SQL? So it allows developers to, so allows it allows developers or users, we can say, allow developers to access data. Okay, so access data in RDBMS, we can say. Okay, otherwise we can say it allows developers to access data, and allows developers to describe. Describe the data is nothing but metadata. So metadata is nothing but, so how many fields it can have, the field, what will be the data type of it, and we can and so the DBA guy, so DB database administrative guy, he can maintain the full metadata of it. So it describes the data in a table, how many columns are there, who modified last. So that we won't discuss now, but but using SQL we can have that. So metadata we can have. Okay, so what we will do, we will define the data, like describe the data means we will give how many columns it will have and what is the data type of it. But metadata includes who is the author, who modified it, when it modified last time. Okay, how many columns it has. So everything is metadata only. But our data engineers won't maintain that one, and they won't describe it. We will define the data, like what columns it has and what is the data type. DBA guys will do that part. Okay, and allows developers to manipulate, we can say manipulate the data. I mean, we can update, delete, okay, insert data. Okay. Okay, these are the things we can access. We can retrieve the data, and we can describe the data. So what are the columns and what are the types of data, and then we can manipulate the data. Means we can update. So we can update some particular rows. And I mean, if one employee joined as data engineer, but he wants to migrate it to he wants to change his role to data analyst, then we can update the data. So wherever employee ID this one, so for that one, now change the role to data analyst now. So we can update the data, and we can insert the data whenever new one is recruited. We can insert his data, and we can delete the data whenever one employee what whenever one employee leaves our organization, we can delete him from our database. So that is the manipulation of data. Okay, so these things we can do using SQL. Okay, so in SQL we have different this one languages. Okay, SQL commands. Different languages mean, don't think that is SQL and DDL these are different. No, no. So there we have some commands, SQL commands. So based on those commands, they divided them. So we have some commands, some set of commands we have, but based on that operation performed by those commands, they divided into some groups. Okay, you understood, right? These are I will say DDL means data definition language. Don't think that it is other language. It is SQL language only. We have some commands. Those commands will perform some operation. Na? So based on that operation, they divided. So those are DDL, okay, DML, DCL, and last one DQL. Okay, so DDL means data definition language. This one. So describe, we will describe now. So DDL is nothing but we will when we will create the table, we will alter, we will add some columns now after that. So that alter. So I will give you, I will provide you the commands which comes under this DDL. Then I will explain what operation they will perform. Okay. So they divided these groups, they divided them into these groups based on the commands only. So inside the data definition language, we have commands create and alter and then drop. So create, alter, drop. So create means create table. So create table and table name. We will provide all the table column names and their data type. So we are defining the data, right, using create. So we are defining how many columns it has, what is the data, what are the data types of those columns. We are defining everything. That's why create is data definition language. Alter also. So now earlier we have some 10 columns. Now you want to add one more column to it. I mean, so that time also you are defining, right? You are adding one column, nothing but you are adding column name and data type. That also. Alter also definition language. And drop means you created the table or database, you want to drop now. So whenever you use drop, it will define. If you drop, if you give command like drop column and column name, it will drops the table from the database. It will delete everything. So whatever you created one table, right? Whenever you use drop, it will delete everything. Deletes everything means the table will disappear from the database. So that's what. So create and drop are opposites. So whenever you create, it will be created everything. Whenever you use drop, it will be disappear from our database. So create, alter, and drop. These three are comes under data definition language. And data manipulation language means manipulation. I explained, right? So update. You want to update some earlier we have some 10 rows, so 10 records we have, and in one of the row you want to change some value, like so data engineer to data analyst you want to change. Otherwise, so some one employee is there, he is working in HR, but now he want to migrate it to IT, so you want to change his department, so you can use update command there. And in update insert also, one new one is onboarded, so you can use insert. You will insert his data, update, insert, and delete. Okay, delete. So what is the difference between drop, delete, and truncate? We will discuss in next class. But delete is deleting one row. So you can delete specific rows. Okay. So there are two things, guys. Delete table, okay, and the table name. So delete table and table name, and you can use where condition here, where employee ID, employee ID is equal to 10 means it will delete only that employee ID row. So employee ID, wherever employee ID is equal to 10, that row only it will delete. Okay. So if you won't provide this one, if you won't provide this where condition, then it is going to delete the rows, all rows inside the table. Okay. So using delete, we can manipulate the data. I mean, so if you have where condition, you can delete the specific rows. If you don't have that where condition, it will rows deletes everything, every I mean all records of this. Okay, so these are the these three commands will come under manipulation language. Okay, these three comes under definition. We are defining the schema here. Here we are more we are changing the rows. So that's why these update, insert, and delete are manipulation language, comes under manipulation language. And we have data control, this one data control language. So here we in this we have two commands, one is grant and other one is revoke. So grant and revoke are opposites of each other. So grant means giving a privileges to some developer. So if you want to give so someone, because you have created some table and production, so no, you will give permissions to only few people. So because I mean senior manager or manager above level only they can do some modification on prod table. So that time you will give access to them. So but one guy, one manager is migrated from our project to another project. That time what you will do, on the same table you will revoke his access, so revoke his permission. That time you will use this revoke commands. So this grant and revoke we will use rarely. Okay, this grant will gives a privileges to user, and revoke will do the opposite of it. I mean, takes back privileges granted from user. Okay, these two comes under control language, and DQL means data query language. So this is very important, guys. So because this DDL we won't do, data architect or manager or senior manager, they will create everything. So we will not get a chance to create tables in our project, real projects. Sometimes we will get, but mostly they will create it. And manipulation we will do. DML we will do updates and inserts and delete. We will do this. DCL also we won't do. DQL is querying. So in SQL for querying we will always use select. So select we will use, and with select we will use other classes like where class, group by, order by, those class along with select only we will use. So the basic command for querying in SQL is select only. So this under DQL, I mean data query language, we have select command. So we have four types of languages. based on the commands. So we have to define the data. We have create, alter, and drop commands. To manipulate the data on the table, we have these commands: update, insert, and delete. To control any access to developers or users, we have grant and revoke commands. To query on the table, we have select, query. Okay. If you know SQL, it is well and good. It is like you will remind, you will recollect them. If you don't know, it will be useful. Okay, so we have some constraint. It is important, guys. So in SQL, we have some constraints. Okay, so constraints are nothing but constraints are the rules enforced on data columns of a table. Okay, so we will enforce some rules on the columns. We'll have some fields, right? To on that fields we will enforce some rules. Those are nothing but constraints. Okay, okay, like yeah. So we how many first let me tell you what constraints we have. We will discuss everything in detail. Okay, these are important. Okay, not null. One is not null constraint, and default constraint we have, and we have unique, yeah, unique constraint we have, and primary key, foreign key. Also, we have check constraint, and then indexing constraint also we have these. So in any interview, if they ask you, so what constraints you know, so you should be in a position to explain three or four of these. Okay, so I will explain everything, but this is constraints, right? So you should be in a position to explain at least three or four of these. Then the interviewer will be satisfied. Okay. So what constraints you generally gives on your database? Please explain about three or four. He will ask you. Then you should be in a position to explain what are the uses, how you use them in our tables. That he will be happy if you explain. Okay, so this not null constraint is, so in if you take employees table, if you take some employees table, so in employees table we have some fields, right? Employee ID, yeah. So you will have fields like employee ID, employee name, and employee salary, and employee department we will have, age also we will have. So okay, but but the we will have this not null constraints on some of them. Okay, so employee ID. So if he is working, if he is our employee, if he is working in our organization, he will have some one ID, right? Without ID, there will be no employee, right? So then on this employee ID, we will apply this not null constraint. So employee name. So employee name, here there will be no employee without name, right? So this on this employee name also we can apply this not null constraint. And address, if you have address. Okay, so address we cannot have not null constraint, because some people will fill that one, and some people. So if you have under address, you have two or three address one and address two and address three. So one user will one employee will write everything in one column. Other employee will write some fields in one column. I mean age, I mean street, and door number in one line, and other things in second line, and he will use just three lines. So like that, that's why we cannot I enforce this not null constraint on this one. So this not null constraint we can enforce on both of these: employee ID and the employee name, and age also. Without age there will be no employee, right? Age, these three we can enforce. So not null means, so employee ID must be not null. How can we write? Not null means employee ID. It may be integer. Okay, integer, and we will write not null here. Okay, understood? So how we will? let me write like you, if you want to create one table, you are creating table, create, the syntax will be create table and table name will be employees. So inside employees, we will give all these, right? Employee ID, employee name, those and their data type we will give. So you will write like this: employee ID integer, and after that this is data type, this is sufficient. Employee ID and integer is sufficient. So column name and we are providing, and the data type we are providing. And also you don't want it to be null, not null, so you will provide this constraint also. And there then you can have employee name. Okay, so it will be var char of some length 20, and it should be also not null. If you want to give, you can provide. So this one, guys, like this, we will have constraint, not null constraint. So if you want to use this employee ID as primary key, then that time it should be not null. So it should be unique. So you can use unique constraint also on this one, employee ID. Okay. So not null constraint is, so you want this employee ID to be a to be not null. Okay. So you should have some value. Okay. Null means, don't think null is, okay. There is difference between null and zero. Zero is some value. Null is nothing but, okay. Null means blank. Okay, blank. So nothing. It is like empty string or no value. So it is like empty blank value. That is null. But zero is not null. Zero has, we have an zero is has some value. Zero value it has. So null means nothing. We have entered like this blank space. So here we have employee ID column. So under employee ID column, we have some values: 1, 2, 3. Okay. Here, no. Here we don't have any value. This is null. This is null. Okay. There is difference between null and zero. Okay. And default constraint means, okay, so in this year you don't, your organization is not performing well, so you want to give bonus hike as 2% to everyone. So either he can be a manager, senior manager, vice president, or fresher or intern, so you want to give them as hike of 2 only. So on that case, what you can do, so you will have salary, yeah, you will have salary field, right? Salary field. So in that salary field, you will mention salary. Okay. Okay, you can give integer or big int, you can give big int, and default, okay, default 2, 2% hike. Okay. Otherwise, 2000. Okay. 2000 bonus you can give like that. So default for every, I mean, so this one for all the, so inside we will have salary column now. So for all salary fields, it will be applicable. So for under salary, whatever the rows we have, to that all the rows, it will be applicable. Default, it is 2000. Okay. Unique. Unique means, so that that row, that field, that column will not allow duplicate values. Okay. So can we give this one employee ID as, here I created na, employee ID is not null, and we can enforce unique constraint also, this one, right? Because here we enforce not null, and I am going to enforce unique also, because mm, yeah, employee ID not null. Okay, so not null and also unique. Am I correct? Because so employee ID, so it should not be null, because everyone should have this employee ID, and so no two employees will have same ID, right? So no two employees will have same ID. That's why it should not allow duplicates. That's why we have to enforce unique constraint on employee ID. Okay, we cannot enforce unique constraint on employee name, because Gopi. So my name is Gopi. With the same name, someone can be there, na? But their employee ID should be different. Okay. So we should not have two employees with the same name. So employee ID should not allow duplicates. that time you will enforce unique constraint on that one. So on that what on that column. And also we have primary key constraint. Primary key is okay. What we can say, a primary key is a field, I mean column. Primary key also one column in a table which uniquely identifies each row or record in a table. So understood. So this in this employees table, employee ID will be primary key, because so we are enforcing both not null and unique. So it doesn't have any duplicate rows. Na? So then employee ID will be a primary key. So a primary key is a column in a table. So which uniquely identifies each row or record. Row or record both are same. Row means row, you know, right? Record also same. Columns are vertical. This in this one, what we can say, I will show you. So what are columns and records? You already know. Okay. So it uniquely primary key what it does. So it uniquely identifies each row in a table. Okay, so for that one, that field should not allow duplicates. So this one, employee ID, we can give, because two employees will not have same ID, right? Yeah. So what is what is foreign key? Yeah, so you'll understand what is foreign key now. A foreign key is a key used to link two tables. Okay, so if you have employees table and also you have other table like department table, so you have department table and employees table. You both you have. So there will be here. Okay, so under employees you have employee ID. So let me delete this department. We don't have uh, department column here. So let me think employee ID, employee name, employee salary, age, address, salary we have in this table. And there is one more table with the department. Okay. So in department also we will have employee ID, right? So what employee ID and the department name and some other fields we will have. So here employee ID and inside employees we have employee ID, and in inside department we have employee ID. So this employee ID will be a foreign key. Okay. Okay, so what is the foreign key now? Foreign key is used to link two tables. Here we have department and employees. It is used to link two tables together. This is sometimes also called as reference key also we will call. Okay. Reference key, referencing key or foreign key, both are same. Okay, so this foreign key is it can be a column, one column or multiple combination of columns also we can have. So whose values match with a primary key in a different table. So we have both tables, right? So one is employees table, department table. So here it is matching. It should be a matching. It will be matching with employee ID in this table. So that then this one we will call as a foreign key. So it is foreign key for employee ID. And inside department, inside department table, employee ID will be a primary key. But when we are working with two different tables, then it will be a foreign key or a reference key. Okay. And check constraint. So check constraint is nothing but okay. So in your organization, you have a rule that so we will recruit only the employees whose age is greater than 18. Then only we will recruit them. Otherwise, we won't recruit them. Then you will then what you will do? So on the age column, you will have constraint, check constraint. How you will give age and the data type int, and it should be not null, right? Non null consent you will enforce, and check consent also check. So you want to check his age. So age, sorry, yeah, check the age constraint. Na age column we have, right? Age field we have. So this age should greater than are equal to 18. So if his age is greater than or equal to 18, then only enter into this one, enter into our DBA database. Otherwise, don't enter. It will throw error if you give age greater than, if you want to insert one employee's record with age greater than less than 18, it won't. It will throw you error. So this check consent we can use like this: age and the data type and the check condition. And the indexing constraint also we have. So what this indexing constraint, we will create indexes for some columns or combination of columns. So it is used for fast retrieval of data. So if you want to retrieve retrieval of data writing, if you want to write very quickly to that column, so then you can use this indexing. So where if you have a condition like you want to read or write very quickly to the table, to that column, then you can use this indexing. Okay. Mm, what can this is sufficient, guys? Okay. Constraints and DDLDML, it is sufficient. Okay, then what can we explain? Okay, so it is sufficient, or can we create some table and can we do some operations? Because today I explained functions and we jumped into SQL and I explained something related to this. So can I stop here, or mm, can we, because we have some time? Otherwise, can we freshly start on Friday? Because Friday we have a holiday na, for everyone, Good Friday na. So Friday we can take, because it will take, if I it will take almost 1.5 hour. So on we can use Friday's time for explaining everything. So we can, I will explain joins also, all types of joins and classes along with select query. We have some classes, right? Order by, in class, between class, where class, and like class, group by. So I will explain everything on Friday. If you have any doubts, we can discuss for next 5 to 10 minutes. Because if I start create explaining them, we will we have to stop in middle of them. That we will lose the continuity. That's why. So on Friday we will complete this SQL queries and joins, and then we can from Monday what we can do, we can start the PySpark architecture and transformations and all. We can start from next Monday. Okay. Any doubts, guys? Mm,
Hello, Gopi sir.
yes, yes.
Uh,